recording to introduce you to the TUPI Butterfly animation. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is you need to start a new project. So to do that, we're going to click on the little piece of paper with the little star next to it. And then you're going to want to change the name of it from My Project to your first name and last initial. And then the name of the project. So in this case, it's Butterfly. Then you're just going to hit OK. And you'll now have your working area to create your animation within. Okay, now that we have our blank page, think of it like a blank piece of paper, we're going to start adding our drawing to this page. Okay, as discussed in class, we want to make sure that we have a plot for our animation. This first animation is a really simple animation with a butterfly flying across the screen, but your plot would start with your butterfly, your character, and then the butterfly's path would change. So that'll be the climax or the rising action. If your butterfly flips upside down, that would be the climax, the oh no moment, and then the coming down from that would be the butterfly rights itself and is able to fly onward. In the directions, you'll see that it has a option to create the pathway for your butterfly. That is to help you know where the butterfly should go. So if you want to skip that step, you can, and then you can just move right on down to creating the butterfly. So you'll see some tools over here, and the one we're going to focus on right now is the pencil tool. And the pencil tool, you can change it, you can adjust the color, you can change the brush properties just by clicking on that. So if you want to change the shape of it, you can change the thickness. So if we want to make it like 26, it would be that big. And you can see the example right here. Then you can come and you can change the color. So you want to change the body of your butterfly, change that color and create a butterfly body for it. Then you can give it a head. Then you're going to come back over here and you probably want to make it a little smaller for your wings. And then change the color of the wings. So whatever color wing you want to make it. And then put the second wing on. And you can get as fancy or as simple as you want to with this one. It's completely up to you. You're going to need to just decide what you want that butterfly to look like. So pause the video, play around, create your butterfly, give it some details, and then come back to the video. Okay, now that we have our butterfly like we want, we're going to want to group the butterfly together so all those pieces stay together. So you're going to change your tool to this little arrow tool and then just make a box, just drag it around it. This will select all the pieces of that butterfly. Then over here, you'll see some options. This one is to break it apart. This one is to put it together. So now our butterfly is one whole piece. So this is no longer separate pieces. It is one continuous piece. Now to do this next step, we need to start adding frames. So remember that your animation is a bunch of pages and the picture changes slightly from one to the next. Now, one thing that you can do that might make it easier is if you click on your grouped butterfly and hit Control-C, that should copy your butterfly. There's also a couple options up here to copy frames, things like that, but we're just going to copy the butterfly itself. You can also right-click and then go down to copy. Now over here, we're going to click on Frame 2, and you can see that our butterfly is grayed out. That's because it's on the previous frame. Now I'd like to paste the butterfly and move it a little bit. So I'm going to right click and then paste the butterfly. And you'll see it pops back in right where it was in the last frame. But I want my butterfly to move. So I'm going to move it up just a little bit. Now you want to keep doing this and you can change the butterfly if you want to adjust the wings, like make it look like the wings are coming down. Then don't copy and paste your butterfly. Use the grayed out version of the butterfly to help you redraw the butterfly but change the wings a little bit. So once you have a few frames like this, try to get about 10 of those. Come back to the video and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so I have my frames in. So my butterfly moves up, gets caught by the wind, is pushed back, fights back from the wind, and lands on a flower. Now, on my last slide, I want to make sure the butterfly lands on the flower, but I've got a problem. My butterfly looks like it's behind the flower, which isn't what I want. So what you can do is you can either use these order buttons here to bring it forward, or just right click and click on send to front. And then that should send your butterfly up to the front. And now I can have my butterfly land on the flower. And then I can come to my last page and you can write your the end slide. So this would be where you write the end on your completed work, and then make sure that you sign that for the lesson for today for the animation and put your initials there so we know that that is your work. And then go back through, check all of these slides and see if there's any that you can add to. Consider adding a background to your animation. Add a sky, some fields of green, stormy sky, whatever happens to be the case for your animation. So make this your own. And if you'd like to add that layer, you can just right click on your layers and you can add a layer into there. Or you can just click this little plus. And one of the nice things with this is if you hover over these, you should get a little notification as to what those buttons do. So I'm ready to check my play out. So I've got a problem. I can't see my butterfly. So go back to animation, so off of the player tab, back to the animation tab. And the problem is my background's in front of my picture. So I just need to drag that layer over and now I can see my butterfly. And then I'm going to come back here and hit play and I should be able to see my butterfly. Now, it seems like it's a little bit too fast. So I'm going to drop that down to 10 frames per second and see if that helps my butterfly. And I'm going to come down, maybe do it a little bit slower, play around with it and see if that works. So you're going to keep doing that to see if it works better for you. Now, you may notice that maybe you want this slide to last a little bit longer, this specific part of the scene, this frame. So you can just copy and paste it into your list of animation slides here and get that animation to have an extra slide for that specific one. Okay, now that you have your animation how you want it, you've gone to the player tab, check to make sure it looks how you want. You want to, again, make sure you're saving a lot. So you're saving your project and making sure that you have, every time you change it, making sure you're adding a number to the end so that you may end up with 10 versions of this, but then that way, whenever you are working on your project, you don't have to, if you make a change, you can just reopen the previous save. So try to save every 5 minutes, set a timer if you can. So now what we need to do is we want to export as a video file. Video button, you can hit the export button and you're going to pick AVI. Then click next, next. This is all fine. Make sure it's saving where you want it to save and then click export. Now if you go to where you saved your file, you should see the video file that you created and double check to make sure that it does work and that it's there for you.